Previously,
I got to know Agnes Crumplebottom. I learned about the ghosts at the Von Haunt estate, and I became friends with SIB agents Jared and Jensen because of the tragic clown painting. Have you met Merlin? Not the legendary and fictitious spellcaster, but my beautiful Arendelle Terrier. Merlin, let me tell you, she's the reason I get up in the morning. She's a sweet, goofy, intelligent, and playful baby. I can't imagine my life without her. Although, in an alternate timeline, we never would have gotten cats and dogs. Have you ever heard about the shipwreck that actually brought us our beautiful pets? No? Well, you're in for a real treat. Spring has sprung in Simnation. The flowers are growing, the birds are singing, the bees are hard at work. There are more reasons to take even longer walks with Merlin nowadays. It's been very nice. It's also given me a lot to think about. Like, why are different areas of Simnation called worlds? Why are all my friends automatically scared of thunderstorms? Why does my brother tell me
it's inappropriate.
and to
Please stop.
when I try to cook him up a nice meal at his house? More importantly, where did Merlin come from? Not like how she was born. When she was a baby, I met her mom and dad, Tequila and TJ. No. My question is, how did dogs, and cats for that matter, come to Simnation? With that in mind, I decided to take a trip down to Brindleton Bay, the home of cats and dogs. Okay, to be fair, we were going to vacay in Brindleton Bay anyways. However, I thought it'd be fun to learn more about how pets came to be. That's why this has become a personal little mission. Before leaving the place we're staying at, I decided to give Mimsy, you remember Mimsy, right? This lady right here, a quick phone call. Is it weird that an extremely old ghost uses a cell phone? Yes. Is it even weirder that we've actually became friends and we text each other quite often? In my opinion, yes. Either way, she's quite useful, especially when learning about ghosts, since, you know, she's a ghost herself. I asked her, if I were to see a ghost, maybe a ghost pet or a ghost sim, what should I do? How should I approach them? And you want to know what she said? Carefully and kindly. I mean, it's good advice, but I was expecting a little bit more than just 2 words. 3 words if you're counting the and. Anywho, here I am, with Merlin of course, exploring the Deadgrass Isle neighborhood. It's crazy beautiful here. In fact, I instantly got a happy moodlet from the spectacular view. We ran into another friendly sim who was exploring the isle with their dog. We talked for a little bit and she told me about an adventure they went on recently. Apparently, they came to visit the museum, wanting a tour. The old man working said to come back another time. So that's exactly what they did. Long story short, they came across a ghost dog, and the old man was actually a young man wearing a mask named Charlie Crabcakes, the heir to the Crabcakes fortune. The Crabcakes family fortune has dwindled down to essentially nothing because of the Brindleton wreck, where Charlie's dad's ship lost a year's supply of crabs. Charlie was trying to turn off the lighthouse so a big fish shipment would crash. He was hoping that this would cause the town to give crabs another chance. Apparently, he shouted at them that he would get his revenge and jumped off the lighthouse, like the top of the lighthouse, wearing a glider jacket or something, and he, disappeared into the water down below or something like that. That's what she said anyways. They told me as soon as they got home, they felt +2 confident since the case was closed. It was a rush, a thrill for them. I knew exactly how that moodlet feels. I get that all the time. I thanked them for their time and the story. Then we continued on our way. We took a trip to the pet cemetery. Legend has it that you'll be able to encounter some ghost dogs around here at nighttime. We went to the top of the lighthouse and looked far out into the distance. Our final stop had to be the museum. If I were to learn anything about the history of cats and dogs, it would be here. Just like I thought, I learned a bit of information about the tragedy of St. Bernard and the other tales from the Isle through some of the paintings that were displayed. Furthermore, I learned a bit about Princess Cordelia, but honestly, I need to do a whole other thing about her. She was an interesting lady. The museum has a series of paintings that depicted various key Brindletonians, who all have some sort of connection to the Deadgrass Isle and the tragedy of St. Bernard. In the earliest days of the settlement at Brindleton Bay, citizens had no pets whatsoever. To entertain them, they would tell tales of plasma-sucking phantoms that visit during the night. One night, disaster struck. The ship called St. Bernard, no relation to Lord Bernard from the Von Haunt estate, crashed into the Isle. The remains of the ship were swept away into the water. No Sims or Sim remains were found. Nonetheless, something very strange happened. Mysteriously, lifeboats full of cats and dogs made their way to shore. Some say that the captain of the ship roams the city at night, checking to make sure the descendants of the pets that survived were given to good homes, and that those who were lost in the crash are comfortably living out their 9 afterlives on Deadgrass Isle. The pet cemetery Merlin and I visited earlier in the day was the final resting place for those poor cats and dogs who didn't survive the shipwreck. Before their pets crashed ashore, Brindletonarians had an enormous amount of free time that they spent tending to the fields and perfecting the covered bridge that overlooks Sable Square. Following the arrival of the pets, the town's obsession with their new 4-legged friends would lead them to erect huge monuments to cats and dogs throughout the square, and it kickstarted a successful fishing and pet food industry. Today, the town is thriving, with feline and canine influences woven directly into the community's DNA. The locals have even elected a cat as their mayor, aka Mayor Whiskers. Since it was pretty late at night, I decided that we should pay another visit to the pet cemetery. I would love to meet some ghost pets. Additionally, it would be cool to meet the ghost captain. Who knows if we'll even spot them though. Merlin and I sat there for hours. I desperately wanted to meet the captain. I wanted to ask them what happened and hear the stories of their days at sea with all of those animals. I had to know where cats and dogs truly come from. Where did they live before Sim Nation and Brindleton Bay? As we waited, I read some of the epitaphs. One of them talked about the cat's 9 lives. Another one hoped that the pets had found an eternity of boxes to climb, doors to yowl at, glasses to drink from, and human beds to sleep on. The one marked as the Tomb of the Unknown was probably the most interesting to look at. Time has not been kind to the epitaph on this solemn grave. Worn and rusted, no one can quite make out the full name of the pet that rests in eternal slumber here. Some sort of captain? But how can that be? Is this a tomb for a pet or a sim? A captain or a dog? Seeing a cemetery full of pets made my heart ache. Why do pets have to pass away? I watched Merlin as she explored the area and played with the other ghost dogs. It's clear as day that pets are precious and are meant to be protected and loved and cared for. As we waited, ghost dogs would appear and then disappear. Ghost cats would jump up onto the fence and nap on it, but there was no ghost sims that appeared. Definitely no captains. I decided that I really needed coffee, and sadly, it was time to go. As we started walking away, I noticed a ghost dog with a scarf tied to its neck. If I were to pet a ghost dog, it would have to happen tonight, here, right now. I went up to the dog and read their name tag. That's when the pieces of the puzzle came together. There wasn't a sim captain. The captain was a dog, and they're right here. Captain Whitaker. Captain Whitaker was a beautiful Chesapeake Bay Retriever and a very good boy. Very focal, playful, and adventurous. I decided the coffee could wait. Merlin and the captain got along swimmingly, so they played a little bit as dawn approached. Just before sunrise, all of the lovely ghost cats and dogs disappeared, including Captain Whitaker. Merlin and I went to pay our last respect to the captain. Thank you for taking care of all of these lovely cats and dogs. You didn't deserve to be in a shipwreck. None of you guys should have been in it, and I'm sorry that happened. You are a good boy and a fantastic captain. You deserve all the pets and the boops and the ear scratches. Rest easy, little captain. Afterwards, I attached Merlin's leash to her, and we headed back to where we were staying. We had so much to tell Jordan and Vote.
Just go, okay? You have to go.
But what about my kids? What about my husband? What
have
about
to
my
go,
life here?
And it has to be just you. Somebody has to go, and I can't.
How long is this gonna be? I can't
Okay?
do it. I can't.
Somebody has to
No.
go, and I just cannot.
I can't do it.
Somebody has to go. Judy,
Jackie,
it has to be
Jackie,
you.
I can't.
Just go. If you go,
Jackie,
you will get
come
this
on,
promotion.
Come
I
on,
promise
Jackie.
you.
You know I don't care about that
Judy,
promotion.
you have to